Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. Do please tag me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad and please follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad. But today, Collider in deep trouble thanks to Stephen Weintraub. Is that how you say his name? Anyway, Stephen, he's pretty much the big boss over at Collider, isn't he? Isn't he the founder of the company? I don't know. So I don't think they can exactly sack him. So I didn't actually know that before. But anyway, we know on, was it Tuesday or Monday? Can't remember now. It doesn't matter. But the other day, there was big discussion after Sean O'Connell put out his article, putting out that quote from Zach about why he actually left the Justice League movie. It was very harrowing. It was very harrowing for me to read. And what we got from Steve Weintraub was that laughing emoji that he's now deleted. He did some half-hearted apology. He's also screenshot some people attacking him and saying some not some very nice things to him. Now, I don't agree with this kind of response and reaction. It happened to me when I fell out with Wonder Meg and I said I wouldn't do the whole kind of charity event. I wouldn't be involved with that or watch it or hashtag it or anything. And everyone come up to me calling me bald, the usual crap, right? And this is not how you converse with people who you're triggered by. This is not how you have discussions. This doesn't work. Now Stephen Weintraub, if that's how you pronounce his name, is playing the victim. But this time, it's not going to work. Because Collider are in big trouble. What I would say to you, as I said today, as I quote tweeted him saying, look what I got. Basically saying, look at these people. Look how horrible these people are. Basically, you make the rest of the movement look like thugs, right? And we're not thugs. We're intelligent people who are able to put banners up saying, release the Snyder Cut. We were able to do stuff at Comic-Con. We were ringing up AT&T, sending them flowers, cakes and whatever. Come on. Be as smart as the rest of the outfit is, the rest of the movement is. Attacking Stephen Weintraub isn't going to affect anything. But you know what I say? If you want to hurt someone, hit them in the wallet. So if he's already said he hates the Snyder Bros, meaning our fandom, right? If you're a Snyder Bro, right? I suppose I'm a Snyder Bro because I'm a fan of the DC Snyderverse, right? So I suppose I'm a Snyder Bro. If you want to call me that, all you have to do really is just unsubscribe from their YouTube channel, his YouTube channel. He is Collider. Let's just call Stephen Collider. So unfollow him, unfollow Collider, block every account that's Collider, and then although there's probably, let's just assume that when Release the Snyder Cut trended by 1 million people, let's just assume it was all us. I don't think it was. But let's say there's about 1 million of us. There's probably more. If each one of us block him on Twitter, block Collider on Twitter, don't subscribe. And then if we all do that, that's about nearly 1 million people, 1 million subscribers he's lost. Think about that. You've got to be intelligent in life. And so Collider are in Major Meltdown. Now, if you remember a few months ago, they proclaimed that they wasn't going to talk about films so much and they were going to talk about other things. Listen, they've been in trouble. There's been a lot of controversies when it comes to Collider. You see, as I said in my quote tweet to Stephen, it isn't nice being ganged up on because I've been ganged up on by the very movement I support. It's ridiculous, right? But anyway, it happens. People disagree. I understand passions flow out. That's why, as I've always said on this channel, I don't hold grudges against anyone who's blocked me who doesn't want to talk to me. I'm a passionate lad. I love my DC. And the thing is with me, I may be a Snyderverse supporter, but I'm a thorough DC fan. I love DC all round. So sometimes I have to educate people within my own movement to make them understand, boycotting HBO Max is dumb. Attacking Stephen Weintraub, aggressively swearing at him, calling him bald, things like that. These are dumb things that kids would do, right? And we're not kids. We're grown adults. We're grown men and women. And whatever identity you represent, right? We're grown-ups here. So we have to be intelligent. I don't really want to go to war with Stephen Weintraub. Stephen Weintraub is irrelevant to me. He's got no power. Collider used to, credit to him and the people who set Collider, right? And the Schmodowns or whatever else they did. they had a good setup there where all movie fans could go and positively watch people converse about movies. And it was great. But something happened when we got the inception of the DCEU. You see, the DCEU crashed the Marvel MCU party. And Stephen Weintraub is a massive Marvel Comics fanboy. And you see, this is the thing. All these great YouTube channels, all these great sites were created by fans. This channel was created by a fan. Me, it's not a successful one, but the same rules apply to everyone. So all of a sudden, because of one gift, why did he do that? Why did he do that? This is a man with a verified account. This is a man with a successful site. Why did he do this? Why does he feel... And as I said to him, he's been fanning the flames against DC for years now. And it didn't have to be like this. He could have been fair to Zack and fair to us as fans and represent DC and Warner Brothers. But there's this illogical hate to DC out there. And Marvel fans started a lot of this trouble, right? MCU fans didn't like the fact that DC came in and crashed their party and decided to have a cinematic shared universe. They didn't like it, right? Because we literally came in and trampled on their toys, right? And they didn't like it. So what did we get after Man of Steel? We saw pictures comparing, the killing in Avengers Assemble and Man of Steel, the destruction in Man of Steel, and things like this. So it was all of a sudden there was a big war. Now, banter between fans, whether it's movie fans, TV show fans, sports fans, it doesn't really matter. Banter is one thing. But what happened was these MCU fans were contriving situations to get the DC hated. DC hated. And I saw it on Rotten Tomatoes. I saw what some of these critics were saying. And all of a sudden, I saw an illogical fake narrative being purported. And this is part of the reason Snyder was driven out as the leader of the DC Extended Universe. Yes, partly they didn't like him because what he was doing was very unique and very different. And it was causing this vocal destruction because everyone was divided. And so all of a sudden we had this divided DC fan base between diehard comic book readers, the comic book writers and artists themselves. Some of them don't like what Snyder did and take it personally. A lot of people were happy that he was driven out of Warner Brothers and wouldn't have anything to do with DC again. And this has started the whole war again. So when Weintraub sees that people are being sympathetic to Snyder, because it's not just us, it's actually mainstream movie fans that think now they're being educated by Sean O'Connell. That's why I said, no matter how much he makes from this, that book is quite important to educate the mainstream, to bring them on side. And we do want them on side if you've got brains. It's not about, you don't want to be like MCU fans. This is not about having a private party. You want this thing as successful as possible so Zack can get more of his Snyderverse for himself, for us, the fans especially. And so you have to be intelligent when you go to battle against the enemy. So people who insult and bully, they are damaging our movement, they are embarrassing us. And so, yes, so you've got Collider Frosty, aka Stephen Weintraub, and he sees even MCU fans kind of thinking, oh, no, a minute, I didn't know this guy lost a daughter. I didn't know she took her own life. This is terrible. I've actually got some sympathy for Zack Snyder. Maybe I should sign up to HBO Max and watch his Justice League and just see what they stopped him from making. You see, I said to you before about this intrigue about Zack Snyder's Justice League. It is there. Now, later on today, or if you're in America, tomorrow, because you're all going to sleep, because you're all weirdos and you sleep at different times, because your day is different to ours, because you're weirdos. I'm joking, of course. I love America. God bless America. Superman bless America. Sod God. It's all about Superman. What if you had the choice, right? I'm just going to ask you a question. Would you rather go to a church, a house of God? I'm not very religious, by the way. Or would you rather go to the church of Superman? I'd go to the church of Superman. Fuck it. Anyway, let's get off that touchy subject. So, yeah, he can see that his narrative is going. You know, the era, the Rotten Tomatoes era and the Collider era and these people's narrative being adhered to is going. Things are changing. Now, something else they don't like is WarnerMedia breaking the release window, because everybody else is stuttering. But WarnerMedia did something very interesting. As we all know, they broke the release window. This pissed off a lot of people because they were the first to do it. Because everybody knows that every studio eventually is going to have to break the release window. It's not about morals. There's not a choice here. Yesterday they announced the runtime of Black Widow. Why do you think that is? Right, so everyone's going to break this release window. But it's just that the so-called terrible studio WB did it first. Because WB are no longer the WB of Kevin Sujihara. They're the WB of Ann Sarnoff and Jason Kilar. And these people are intelligent. And this really pisses people off, even people like Christopher Nolan, because they allowed Nolan to hang himself publicly. And this is how they did it. And I'm changing the subject a bit, but this is important because there's a hatred and there's an agenda against WarnerMedia. And there's always been an agenda against WB. And I like to stand up for the company that I stand. It would always be my dream to work for Warner Brothers. I love the studio. I've loved them since I was a kid. Nobody's perfect, of course. And these people can be immoral because they're a business and they want to make money. Unfortunately, that's the way the world turns. So they allowed Christopher Nolan to hang himself by saying, you know what, Chris, you're right. Let's release Tenet out in the world, only in cinemas. And when it's time to release on Blu-ray, we will. And then eventually it'll be on HBO Max, right? They allowed him to do that because Jason Kilar and Ann Sarnoff knew that it wasn't going to make much money. It was going to be evidence that they had to do something else. And what they didn't plan to... So they were... Even when they released Tenet in movie theatres, they were planning to break the release window. They were planning to have it on HBO Max in movie theatres were open and pay-per-view where people are on, really strict lockdowns. And so they had that plan already, but they were just waiting. They were just cocking the gun. So once Nolan hung himself with the box office return of Tenet, they knew they were going to get away with it. Now, they knew there was going to be a pushback. And if you've noticed all the big articles from the Hollywood Reporter saying how bad WB are and Nolan constantly coming out. Nolan's gone very quiet now because last week he put out these journalists basically who were saying he's never going to work with WB again. And it's like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I saw about 6 reactions to it. And a few idiots going, oh my God, this is terrible. But mostly we don't care. We don't care about Christopher Nolan. Now, let's just say WarnerMedia do have a problem where some directors will refuse to work with them. It's realistic. It's not really a big deal. Well, I have heard on the grapevine that actually something that I suggested about a month or so ago, if you remember, that they have decided to set up an initiative, and I don't know how true this is, where they actually put people in film schools to look at the best students with the best results, with the best, because they literally try and make movies kind of at film schools as well. They don't just sit there listening to what the tutors are saying. And so they can take a look at these people's work, and what they'll do is they'll give them kind of a temporary contract to see how good they are when they finish from film school. So that's what I'm hearing. This is a great initiative because we do need more good storytellers and filmmakers, because right now the people making films and TV shows lack the imagination, too many reboots. We need people, we need storytellers who are willing to take risks. People like Zack Snyder. It's so very, very important now. And so just to finish off talking about Weintraub and Collider, this could spell the end of Collider. They could finish. They could cease to exist. They are already in a lot of trouble. Before he did this about Snyder, he was already in a lot of trouble. But this is just the icing on the cake. I'd say withdraw your support. If you are triggered by what he did, just withdraw your support. Don't talk to him, block him, unfollow him. Show him what happens when people sink below the belt. For years, people like him have been telling you that fans are toxic males, because women are not fans, by the way, and they never attack people on the internet. But the only way to affect these people is to hit them in the wallet. And it's time to hit them in the wallet. Let's talk about Andy Sigmar, who has me blocked. Now, this is interesting, actually, because I do follow his YouTube channel, Popcorn Planet. Now, you watch that channel, and it basically deals with the stories of the day in entertainment. Now, we know Andy's history. Very clever lad, but accused of sexual harassment or something. And he was proved to be innocent. But sadly, he was no longer the elite person he used to be. So I think he created Popcorn Planet because he had nowhere to go. And so he kind of allured himself to Jodie's corner. So sometimes Jodie turns up on his channel. Now, listen to this. Someone screenshot this because this is interesting. This is from Andy Signal. I'm so sick and tired of Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher, he tags them as well, never condemning the toxic side of their fandom, lies, personal attacks, death threats for a movie. These psychos always call themselves associate producers of Zack Snyder's Justice League. WTF ? Speak up and clean it up, Zack. Well, he's not going to do that. He's not going to stop his army because his army is strong and it got him the cut and he knows they are effective. And so I know some of them can be a bit aggressive and can do things they shouldn't be doing, Andy, and I agree. But you know what, Andy? You don't hate Zack Snyder or Ray Fisher. What you're doing is you're making money about talking about them. And so the more you be controversy sells, doesn't it? I've been talking about that on my Instagram today. But yeah, controversy sells. So he talks about everything controversial. So some of the stuff he says about Ray Fisher, I kind of agree with. Some of the stuff I don't. But so he's an interesting bloke, really clever, because he was amazing. He was a clever, pioneering guy. And I don't know what happened and what destroyed that side of his career, but it's a shame to see him now because basically now he's going onto car crash internet. That's what he's on. He's making money. And good luck to Andy for that. He's a verified. But it just shows how toxic verifieds are opposed to us, the normal people, they claim are toxic. Now, about the associate producer thing, now what he's trying to do is stick up for Stephen Waitrub there. And now the associate producer thing I want to talk about, I've never tagged myself as an associate producer, even though I did, I believe I helped minimally, a little bit, to get the cut released. I was doing videos, I was hashtagging, so I helped as much as anyone. Some people did more, they went out there, did lots of things, so those people, I suppose, if they want to call themselves associate producers, it's up to them. I'm not an associate producer of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't see that because even if I was going out there, putting up banners, doing everything, I still wouldn't feel I'm an associate producer because an associate producer does a hard job on a film. And I don't want to take that role away from anyone. I know what it's like to shoot TV shows and films, and I know associate producers, and that's a big role. So I am not an associate producer, and I would never call myself an associate producer. Now, it's great for some people to have on their bios, I'm the associate producer of Zack Snyder's Justice League. In truth, and I know this is not going to go down very well, you're not the associate producer. I know Zack sees you that way, and that's great, that's beautiful. But I'm just telling you how I feel. You're not an associate producer. Basically, you didn't do anything that anyone else who isn't calling themselves an associate producer. Everyone can pat themselves on the back. But the thing is, we mustn't think we're bigger than what we are. This is why I don't like the associate producer tag. We got a film released. But never think that you can get whatever you want because we got one film and we got justice for one film and one director. It doesn't mean every time you shout, they're going to bend the knee. Now, if you conduct yourself intelligently, who knows what could happen. I think I mentioned this mid-sentence earlier and didn't finish my point. I do that a lot. I do apologise. So later on today, I think that WarnerMedia are going to have an investment call thing, right, publicly. So we find out how the Wonder Woman 84 did for HBO Max, how many subscribers. Now, this is a very interesting thing because this is the change of the narrative and dynamics. Because before with movie releases, you'd find out after the whole run globally, let's say $800 billion global run, everyone's happy, it's a big headline. Now this is where movie journalism will sink down and try and paint a negative kind of thing or an over-the-top thing. And so this is how it's going to work. It's not just important how many subscribers HBO Max got because of the Wonder Woman 84 rollout on their platform. It doesn't matter after the announcement of WarnerMedia breaking the release window what effect that had on subscribers. Now, I assume quite good. But even more important than that, and of course subscribers are important, sponsorships. Sponsorships would have gone through the roof once businesses discovered that HBO Max were going to release blockbuster cinematic events via their streaming platform, as well as movie theatres were open and pay-per-view. This would have been a big deal. Every business would have wanted to align themselves with WarnerMedia and HBO Max. That's important. That's how business works. So while Hollywood was saying, "Ooh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. How could they do it? It's like they came around my house and killed my family. WarnerMedia are scum. They're trying to destroy us." Which, of course, isn't true. But that was the reaction. Because what you've got to understand is the movie industry and the media, especially the movie industry, the people that run the movie industry, are very old-fashioned people and quite old people. Very few of them are quite young and vibrant, like Ann Sarnoff and Jason Kilar. So Ann Sarnoff and Jason Kilar are tomorrow, but the rest of the studio and network presidents are yesterday. So actually, the studio that we support is forward-thinking, and the rest of them are backwards. That's why MGM haven't released No Time to Die, and this is why MGM are about to sell their company, probably to Netflix. And so we'll keep on that one because I'm very interested in that story. And so I stand a studio, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, I stand a studio that has forward-thinking people. And so when you hear the investor results, you've got to listen to the whole thing. They're going to tell you subscribers. And their subscribers would have hit the roof because of the announcement of all the films coming to HBO Max and Wonder Woman 84 being there. So that's going to be interesting. But they're also going to tell you how many subscribers are stuck with them in the past month. I think, is Wonder Woman 84 gone now from HBO Max or about to go? And, you know, the next film, of course, is Godzilla versus Kong. And so that film has broken Warner Brothers' views for trailers on their YouTube channel. Massive. And I think, was it Luis Fernando said, this is insane. Well, actually, Luis, it's not insane because the reason they're beating views from comic book movies is that Godzilla and King Kong are as big as any comic book character. So WB have been quite prudent with this by doing this third movie, by doing a King Kong Godzilla franchise. You know, Kong Skull Island, and then a Godzilla film, and now Godzilla versus Kong. It's been a great build-up, and I like those first two movies. Some people don't like the second movie. Tough shit. I think it's good. It made good money. No issue or problem with that. So they're very smart. So when you find out the results from Investor Day from WarnerMedia, these are the things you have to look out for. Not just the subs. How many subs came in? How many subs stayed in? Right? And the sponsorships. They're going to mention sponsorships, and you need to focus on that too. So I'm hearing that Weta will be handling the special effects for Zack Snyder's Justice League, unless they've already done them, but they're the ones handling the special effects. Now, they handled the special effects, especially the Krypton sequence on Man of Steel, which is stunning. But one thing we know, if Zack Snyder's directing a film, the effects will be flawless. Even if you don't like anything else within his movies, visually, it's always going to be beautiful. And this is why I thought it was insane that Patty Jenkins got rid of his VFX team. But Patty Jenkins and Zack have a divide. I don't think they're great friends. He did give her an opportunity by giving her the Wonder Woman gig, but she didn't agree with what he wanted to do with the first one, and she steered as far away as possible from that movie. That's why we went from 1917 or 1918 to 1984. There's a reason for that. It's blatant. She didn't agree with what he wanted to do with it. I think that Wonder Woman 2017 is the better film, but there's elements of Wonder Woman 84 that I think are okay. It's not a classic movie. It's a half-solid movie. You forget about it. It's very, very forgettable, unfortunately. And she knows that what she basically, look, this is like the Jon Favreau thing. and the Kathleen Kennedy divide at Lucasfilm, where she said, I want to release the Lego special, Christmas special, before you release The Mandalorian. So he went, all right then, and I can't remember who released first, but obviously we know how the Lego special was received. People just didn't really notice it, and how The Mandalorian was received, especially with Luke Skywalker, returning in the season 2 finale. And so these are what wars are made of. So basically, Patty didn't agree with Zach's vision for Wonder Woman 2017. So she goes, I'm going to do it this way. This is what people want. This is what's going to inspire women. What happens? You can see what's happened. You can see the reaction. She made so many blunders in that film, while Zach's idea and Zach's execution of Wonder Woman 2017 is pretty much a classic movie. It's up there with Superman the movie. It's basically got so many people in love with that film, and that's the difference, Patty. You went to war with Zach, and you lost. And so that's it for today. I want you to comment down below. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. I want you to shout my beautiful name into the stratosphere and tell the whole world about me. I don't know if I could handle fame, but hey, why don't we give it a try? See you later, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.